Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Christmas Day 2025 podcast stream episode. I haven't really made that much content this year because I've been so busy with other things. And I kind of want to reflect on the year, possibly. Excuse the fan noise or whatever, it's just getting kind of hot in my room. But if you really think of it, December 26th is kind of the first day of the new year. Because I know technically December 26th is still 2025, but really everyone takes, say, like the last week of the year off or whatever. So if you're working during the last week of the year, it's kind of like a guaranteed week of work that you get done that no one else is doing. So if there's 52 weeks in the year and 1 week makes up 2% of the year, you can get 2% better than the average man just if you're taking December 26th through December 31st seriously. And I would like to be honest, I think this year has been a very productive year. Obviously, I wasn't perfect on everything, but I got a lot done. In comparison to, say, the average man, I got a lot done. So what were some things that I got done this year? Starting with January, Trump became president. That was cool. I started my paramedic class. This year I did over 400 clinical hours for my paramedic class. Did even more, probably over 1,000, 2,000 hours I've spent this year learning to be a paramedic. If you also factor in all the classroom hours I've spent and all the hours outside of clinical and outside of the classroom that I've spent studying, probably well over 2,000 hours. Maybe 25 that I've spent training, right? So probably about 3 to 4 hours a day, at least, if not more, completely dedicated to just learning that. So I did that. What I'm currently training for now is my capstone internship, which is like March, and I have like a month or two to do it, where I basically have to function as a primary paramedic by myself for like 10, 12-hour shifts. So it's 124 hours. And if I pass that internship, then in May of 2025, I'll become a paramedic, and then I can start earning serious money doing that, like $500 a day or so, just working every single day. So that's why I'm currently working on studying the North Carolina NC EMS protocol book and the Wake County EMS protocol book, because that's where I'm going to do my internship at. So I want to make kind of like an entire series of me explaining that and teaching the entire paramedic curriculum, and then I can like clip it up and like sell courses or whatever, and then kind of create like an agency or a community or whatever, teaching people different healthcare stuff, because I've dedicated thousands of hours to it this year, and there's a lot of people that are interested in it, and it's very time consuming. But yeah, I would say 2025 has just been a very productive year, and that's just one thing that I've done. We can make a list, and that's another thing I want to reflect on this, because I think 2026 is going to be an even better year. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for those who take it seriously. I mean, really every year there's a lot of opportunities, but I think 2026 is going to be a good year. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. There's going to be a lot of hard work. There's going to be a lot of money to be made, and not just money. There's going to be experiences to be told. So first of all, you see my Chase Parker Enterprises flag in the back. I'm going to map out, I guess, perhaps what I've accomplished in 2025, and also what opportunities there will be in 2026. Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for everyone who's prepared to take them seriously, and I'm genuinely extremely grateful and excited. That's another thing perhaps that maybe I've learned doing all my EMS work or whatever. It's like a month ago I was on a clinical and I saw a guy get shot. Like I literally saw a guy get shot. We got to his house and there was this man there and he was in a puddle of blood. And I thought he was dead, but so there are people in the world that have actual genuine problems, so like get in car crashes and get their legs amputated and get diagnosed with cancer when they're like young. So if you're a young person and you're genuinely healthy, you know, I mean, maybe you're not rich, but you're healthy, you have the ability to go and work and get a job. You might not be the most popular guy or whatever, but maybe you have like 1 or 2 friends, or you have a couple of family members that you trust. You need to be extremely grateful for your current life situation. Because even me, I could complain. Like, sure, 2025, maybe I was like, I liked a girl and she broke up with me or whatever, right? Like, things happen, right? But all in all, if you were to probably analyze your problems and you compare it to what other people have experienced, you would realize that you should be extremely grateful for your life. And truthfully, I am. I'm extremely grateful for 2025. I'm extremely blessed for everything that has happened to me, and I'm extremely excited going into 2026. So 2025, Chase Parker, 2025. All right, what did we do? Let's just say I did like 400 clinical hours riding on the ambulances with 911 and like hospitals, practicing IVs, and I did all kinds of calls, and I got all these certifications. But we'll just say in general, probably around 1,000, 2,000 hours of training I've done this year. We'll say 1,000 plus hours paramedic training. And I'm extremely glad that I did that, because I originally went to university, right? Because like I wanted to be a doctor or whatever. But I think anyone that like seriously wants to become a doctor should do a paramedic course first, just in general. Because it's cool, like it's cool. Just tell people you're a paramedic is cool, right? Like you've seen stuff. Because I did the EMT class when I was 17, when I was in high school. But if you can learn the entire paramedic curriculum, right? Not only will you have income, you will actually have medical experience. So if you want to become an MD or a PA, you already go into the medical school knowing more than all of your peers, and you actually have money. Like you have an income. And let's be honest, bro. Money makes the world go round. You need money to live. It's just how it works. So, and that's another thing that's really interesting. So the paramedic course that I'm in is 16 months long, because we started in January and we'll be done in May, right? So let's say, for example, you can go to a trade school program, say for like a year or whatever. So you do a trade program for a year, and then after that, you can get a job making nearly 6 figures. Like with my job now, I mean, I'm not a cleared paramedic yet, but I make pretty decent income for my age. But for example, let's say as a cleared paramedic, you can make $40 an hour, right? Maybe working in like a factory or an ambulance or whatever. You can make $40 an hour, sure, with overtime. Right, so 50 hours a week, you're making $2,000 a week. That's $104,000 a year, and that's just one trade program, right? So, like all these jobs that no one really wants to do, like welder, plumber, paramedic. What are some other trades you could look into? Just like any class that you could basically take at community college that really doesn't even cost that much is usually where the real money is. Like, yes, going to university can be helpful for some people. But if you're 18, 19 years old, bro, you need to look into a trade class. I'm going to be honest, because your degree really ain't going to help you get paid. And even if you are going to university like I am to become a doctor, you should still do this first, so you can have money and you can have some cool stories and you can actually, most of the med school curriculum before you even start the class, and you look cool in the interviews. So if I even thought about it, you know what? If I was going to university to become a lawyer, I would try to become a paralegal first, right? I mean, surely if you take a paralegal class at a community college before you apply to law school when you're young, you already know most of the law school curriculum. You would be more impressive in the application status. You would have more money, right? Because you would have an income and you would have cool, more interesting stories. So there's really no downside to doing it, because literally, the course is nearly free. It's like what? What's the price to sign up for the class? Like a couple $100. Like it's cheap in comparison to actual college tuition for what you get out of it, right? So that's just one thing I accomplished in 2025. I feel like that's not really. That's why I haven't been really making any content, because like the entire reason you really make content is so you can like start an agency or you can sell courses. But this entire year I've just been like so busy or whatever, doing so many stuff. I really didn't make it a priority in my life to just actually sit down in front of a camera and like talk. But I think 2026, I'm more trying to start like an agency, because I have a lot of good things I think I can provide. So I need to start making a lot more content. So yeah, what else did I do? I got a trade job, right? So I did my EMT class when I was in high school. I was like 17, so it's been like nearly 3 years now. I got basically a job being an EMT on like a construction site, which is like a pretty cool job, pretty chill job. We made like $25 an hour. And I've been doing like 12, 14-hour shifts, 12, 14-hour shifts over there, making about 300, 350 bucks a day. And combined with some of my other income sources, I'll have days where I push like $500 a day. So I dabbled into a lot more like trade jobs. I think that's where like a lot of the real money is, right? Like, even in the future, if I do become a medical doctor, and I'll definitely be a paramedic within hopefully the next couple of months, but at least, you know, probably a year or two or so, if something happens and I'm not able to pass my program, which God forbid happens. But there's a lot of like contract jobs I'll be looking into, like going overseas, or like working as like a medical person, you know, on like an oil rig in the Pacific Ocean, where you can start pretty much making, you know, just FU money instantly. Like they pay those dudes like $1,000 a day to work on like an oil rig in the Pacific Ocean. And it would be dangerous, but I think it would be a cool job. But anyway, so this year I kind of got like my first trade job when I was 19. That was in April. And I worked a lot doing that. And I've made quite a bit of money. Like, you know, I'm not like, so that's kind of weird. I'm like kind of interesting because like I dabble in business stuff. And part of me wants to be like one of those online money-making gurus, right? That flexes Lamborghinis on TikTok. But the other part of me is like, all right, I want to be a doctor, right? So all the online making money guru guys are like, college is crap, college is crap. But on the side hand, I'm like, yeah, I want to be a doctor. I've been training for this for years. Like, it's like weird because like I'm going to be in the online money making guru space, but I'm teaching people about like medical stuff. So like it doesn't fit in. And I'm like kind of right wing too. And a lot of people that are in like healthcare, right, are like more like left wing. So it's like kind of interesting. I'm going to be like a medical content creator that's in the online money making guru like agency space, but I'm extremely like right wing. So it's like funny. Also, peep my robe that I got from Walmart the other day. Some drip. I do have a pair of shorts under this, by the way, so I'm not naked, just so you know. But yeah, so 2025, I did 1,000, 2,000 paramedic training hours. I got my first pretty much like real trade job, right, when I was 19. Trade job at 19, and this was like, this year was kind of like, I guess, well, last year kind of, but like this year, like I kind of started making like actual like serious money. So like I told you, like between my job, I make $300, $400 a day, and then I have two other income sources that I'll talk about in just a second. And I was like 19, I'm 20 now, where I'll clear 500 bucks a day, easily. Which I know sounds like a lot, but I mean, it's really not, because I've been spending a lot of money on like high ticket offers and like services, right? Like I'm pretty much, basically all the money that I'm making right now, I'm currently reinvesting to my life. Like I've had a lot of projects go down this year. That's why I say it's been extremely successful, right? So first trade job at 19, clearing 500 a day, right? So yeah, I was clearing like 500 bucks a day. I mean, today's Christmas Day, so I kind of have like my first chill day in like a while. Obviously, I got to go work again tomorrow because I'm running two jobs right now, right? But yeah, that $500 a day is while still being in the paramedic class, while still taking university courses. So I mean, is it unreasonable for me to assume within say 2 years from now I'll be 22? I won't even be old. If I'm making $500 a day now, and I'm in university, and I'm in trade school, and I haven't even had that much time to scale my businesses, another 2 years from now, is being over $1,000 a day in personal income, is that unrealistic to say? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it might be. Who knows? If I'm able to stay healthy, we'll see. I mean, I'll work every single day. We'll see what God will allow me to do. But yeah, that's another thing, is I also stayed in school. So that's, I don't know if that's an accomplishment or not. I'm very close to finishing a bachelor's degree. So like last semester I did biochem, microbiology, and a bio lab. So I made 4 A's and 1 B in the 5 courses I did last semester. So that's something to be proud of, right? Obviously in the online making money guru space, you know, they say college is BS or whatever, but I did it. So I stayed in school, so that's pretty cool. So I'll say Stayed in university. Yeah, so 2025, I built a really good foundation. That's what I'm saying. 2026, I'm hoping all the pieces come together. I can get even more closer to finishing my education, and I can scale my income sources just a little bit more. I'm juggling quite a bit of things at once right now. That's why I can't be in like the full online making money space right now, or like content creation, because I'm doing a lot of things at once. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a sip here. Shout out to Coke Zero, bro. What else did I do? In July of this year, right before I turned 20, I started taking like e-commerce very seriously. So I hired my first ever employee. I hired my first ever virtual assistant in the Philippines, which I guess is kind of a cool thing to do when you're like 19 years old. It's pretty impressive. I mean, most teenagers aren't employing anyone. So I had my first ever employee when I was 19. Me and him have been working together to basically create an e-commerce store. He helps me list products, and on my end, I have acquired basically tax exemptions in a bunch of states, and I've got cashback credit cards. And literally last month in December, with all the Christmas buyers, we did $11,000 in sales on eBay or whatever, and our profit margins are around 30%. So obviously, I have two VAs now, so I have to pay them their wages, and I have to pay like softwares, right? And then obviously I spend money on stuff. But it's like I have a legitimate business now that makes $50, $100 a day on autopilot, which is pretty cool, right? And I've only started this a couple months ago. So I created an e-commerce business. I'm currently looking into scaling that. By 2026, I want to be making like $200 a day in personal income for my e-commerce store. So I kind of already have the blueprint. I know what I'm doing right now. The only thing that I really have to do is just buckling down and staying consistent. But I know myself, and I know that I'm not afraid of discipline. I'm not afraid of hard work. I've never had a problem with not showing up or not doing my work. I'm very familiar to working hard. It's not something that I'm afraid of doing. So yeah, I started my first e-commerce brand. I'm not really going to get too in depth into how I run my operation, because I see it as possibly something I can market. So I don't really want to tell everyone exactly what I do. But anyway, I started my first ever serious kind of e-commerce operation. Because when I was like in high school, even like 15, 16, I would like resell like video games and like sneakers on like eBay or whatever, but never anything like serious, right? Like I never really made more than like a couple, maybe $100 at a time, right? Like 500 there, 600 there. Like I never really made like a serious income, like like 2K a month, 3K a month, like like something that will actually change like someone's life. And I certainly was never like hiring anyone or whatever. Hang on, I'm gonna tighten this robe real quick, just so I can have more aura, because all of these videos are gonna get clip farmed. So yeah, I got an aura farm, low key, bro. Yeah. So yeah, I stayed in university. I started my first like kind of serious e-commerce operation. So Chase Barker Enterprises LLC is like a real legitimate kind of business right now. And now I'm currently looking into like e-commerce taxes and how all of this works, because like when you're getting tax exemptions in all these states, you have to basically file like taxes in each individual state. And I'm not really sure how like filing taxes for a business usually works. So I kind of spent a little bit of money on like a private accountant, and I'm kind of trying to figure out like, can I get a refund for that? Because I found out that it's not really necessary for what I'm trying to do right now. There's a bunch of stuff that's going on right now, right? But there's like all these things I have to learn, because I'm kind of getting into the world of like business and agency, right? And it's really fascinating, but there's just a lot that goes into it. Like when you're like kind of being a CEO, right? And even though like I'm a CEO and I only have like 2 people that like work for me, but like the thing about being a CEO, because I get it, when you're an employee, you're only really worried about doing your job. Like, it's your job, you just do what you're told. But when you're the CEO, you're also worried about trying to do your job to advance the business while also making sure that all the people under you are doing what they're supposed to do. So you have basically you're fighting on two fronts. Like basically Nazi Germany in World War II. You're fighting on two fronts. You got the Soviets in, what was it? The Soviets in the East, and you got the United Kingdom and the United States and the West. You're fighting two operations at once. So that's what makes it extremely difficult. And when something goes wrong, everyone comes to you. When a buyer has to complain, they go to you. When your employees have a question, they go to you. When there's a tax problem or a business problem, it goes to you. Everything goes to you. So, I mean, I completely understand what it's like to be a CEO, and those guys work extremely hard and they get extremely burnt out, and there's a lot that goes into it. So I'm kind of dabbling in this world of business, and it's been extremely fascinating. And I don't mean like, and that's what I'm saying, like I'm talking about like serious business, like, you know, like making like life-changing money. And for most people like my age, like if you can make an extra $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month, like I'm kind of currently doing with my business, that's life-changing for most people. Like I know a lot of the internet gurus, like you need to make 10K a month online, bro. And it's like, bro, I promise you, if you can make an extra $2 to $3K every single month when you're like 19, 20, 21, right, while still going to school, like that money is basically enough to like pay all your bills, right? And like you can still kind of go out and hang out with your friends, right? So yeah, but it's cool, right? So I mean, like once you start making $100 a day from online business, like it's pretty cool, right? You're like, wow, like I could scale this. Like this is enough to pay my cell phone bill or like gas, and you're like, wow, like this is cool. And you can kind of quit that job that you don't like. Because I have a job that I do like, right? Like I like doing medical stuff, but like a lot of people that are like young, they're just like working at like fast food or like a retail store or whatever. Like they don't like their job, right? But yeah, so 2025, I spent a lot of time training virtual assistants. I have 2 full-time that kind of work for me right now. One of my guys, this is basically his full-time job, is going to be to like clip up content of me. That's part of the reason why I want to make content, because I kind of want to build like a more of a brand, like the Chase Parker Enterprises brand. But 2025 started serious e-commerce operation. Started serious e-com operation. And what else did I do? So anyway, I made a couple of YouTube videos about it, but I work for an algorithmic trading company called NERP Algorithms. So if you just Google NERP, it's NURP. NERP is a company that builds like algorithmic like softwares that trade like Forex and like gold and like cryptocurrencies, right? Because anyone that's like kind of tried to make money online, like any kid that's ever been curious about money, is like tried like trading or like tried options or whatever. The only problem is with me is like when you're in university and you're doing the Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, and you know like your 9 a.m. like biology lecture and then your 10 a.m. physics lecture, when the market opens at 9:30, like, and you're trying to day trade, it doesn't really go well when you're trying to pay attention to a lecture. Like I've been that guy that was like trading stocks in the back of like chemistry class. Like I've been that guy, right? And like it's not really like practical, especially if you're someone and like you want to like run a business, like you want to kind of be like a content creator, or like you want to go to school, or you want to have like another career, like you want to be a doctor. Like bro, like you're not going to be able to trade. It's just not practical. So NERP is an algorithmic trading company run by a man named Jeff Seckinger. I think he's like 31 to 32. I've never met him personally, but I've talked to a lot of the other guys at NERP. And basically, they build algorithmic trading softwares that trade Forex for you. I started working with them over a year ago, and they build algorithms that basically return 3 to 4% a month consistently, pretty much. Try to keep the drawdown relatively low. At my peak, I had around like $55,000 in an account when I was like 19, so it was like 6 months ago. So I mean, $55,000 in an account doing 2 to 3% a month is like what, like $1,000, $1,500 a month. I mean, it's better than anything the stock market will give you. That's for sure, for sure. And most people say, oh, that's not a lot of money or whatever, but it's like, bro, bro, you're working at like McDonald's making 1K a month, like working 40 hours a week. Like, dude, shut up. Like if you could make an extra $1,500 a month, like not doing anything, that would be life changing for you. So now I basically have the ability to earn referral commissions for signing people up for this, right? Because basically the whole idea with it is if you can get $1 million in, like if you have $1 million in cash, like me, with all the things that I'm doing, hopefully I'll be a millionaire by my late 20s. I'm recording this on Christmas Day when I'm 20 years old, so hopefully I can look back on this and it'll be clipped up and it'll look nostalgic or whatever. But yeah, I think I could become a millionaire in my 20s. When the unfortunate reality is, if you have $1 million, like inflation is like what, like 5% a year. So if you have $1 million cash and you're not investing in anything, you lose $50,000 a year, right? And over the course of the Biden administration, the 4 years that Biden was president, the U.S. dollar lost like 25% of its purchasing power over 4 years. So if you had $1 million in cash 5 years ago in 2020, right, and you just left it in a checking account and you didn't invest it into anything at all, 4 years later goes by when Biden is president, your $1 million in cash is now worth $750,000. So you've lost $250,000 in purchasing power just because the government was printing money aimlessly. So if you're really not looking into other ways to invest your money, like you're bound to lose, especially if you're someone and you have money. I mean, if you're broke, you don't really need to worry about it. But like I bought an NERP when I was 19, about when I had about $100,000 in cash, right? So it was about a point in time where I was like, all right, I need to look into alternative ways to invest money or whatever. And yeah, recently I became a funded trader. Well, recently I say like August, because anyway, I'm like, all right, like I'm sure like a lot of people in the online making money space, they know what funded accounts are or whatever. So anyway, you approach a prop firm, you pay to do these challenges or whatever, and say you get a $100,000 account and you trade on their account and you get part of the profits, right? It's called being like a funded trader. So I thought, like, you know what if I could become a funded trader using the NERP algorithms? And recently, NERP, the company that I'm with, right, they announced that they partnered with a prop firm that would allow all of the NERP members to use funded accounts using the algorithms. Obviously, it was another upfront fee, but I paid it because I saw, huge potential in it, right? So right now you get 5 times leverage. So I put $20,000 into an account. I'm currently running a $100,000 account. Obviously, once your account reaches the 20% drawdown, you lose your 20K, you get liquidated, right? But if your account never reaches that 20% drawdown, obviously you don't lose money. So the idea is that you're going to be copy trading an algorithm that has never reached 20% drawdown. So the probability of you ever doing that is going to be realistically low. So I started running my funded account, September 30th. So as of right now, it's about 3 months ago, and I made about like $7,000, right? So I maybe average like $2,300 a month on a $20,000 bounce. So on a $100,000 account, that's like 2.3% monthly. On a funded account, I keep 100% of the profits. So I'm currently a funded trader, like a funded algorithmic trader. So like I don't do any of the work. It's an automated software. They have a quant team that designs these algorithms. It's great. The only problem is I've currently told you, right? I'm in school, right? I'm in trade class. I'm spending a lot of money on like high ticket offers or whatever. Like I bought like a mentorship program or whatever to learn like how to start a content agency or whatever. But I haven't really been able to take any action on because I've been doing thousands of hours of paramedic training. But in 2026, I want to kind of start like an agency or whatever. But yeah, I became a funded trader. So like I haven't had obviously tens of thousands of dollars to pump into these NERP algorithms. But I mean, I look at it now, I'm like, okay, if I'm 20 years old and I have a $100,000 account making $2,000 a month, right? $2,000 a month, right? I mean, I know myself. Obviously, I'm not going to be having to do these unpaid clinical hours forever. I'm not going to be in school forever. Obviously, within the next 5 years or so, my income could exponentially increase. So, I mean, let's say with me having access to these funded trader accounts, let's say 5 years goes by and I'm 25, what's stopping me, say, from having $200,000 in cash and using that $200,000 in cash, I run $1 million account. And on that $1 million funded account, I average 2 to 3% a month and I make $20,000-$30,000 a month. I mean, I would say realistically, that's not far-fetched to say, given what I've already currently done. I mean, I don't think that's unrealistic. It's probably probable at this point. So there's a lot of cool projects that I've worked on in 2025. There's a lot that's going on, and that's one of them. So I'll say NERP, Funded trading. I became a funded trader. Not only do I become a funded trader, I became an automated funded trader. Automated. Automated. That's what it looks like, quantimated, but it's automated. But yeah. And then what else did I do? That's pretty much the big things. You know, my paramedic training, my e-commerce business, getting pretty much pumping my money into these algos. I mean, there's other stuff that I did. You know, this year I want to be honest, I kind of been slacking on going to the gym. Like anyone that kind of knows me, like I was in high school, like I lifted a lot, like I trained a lot. But this year, like I don't know, I got caught up with a lot of stuff, so I haven't been really like gym maxing or looks maxing. But now that I think I'm going to be like content maxing or producing content, I probably need to like get in the gym like consistent again and start like debloating my face and like, you know, just trying to look good for the camera, right? But so yeah, 2025 there were a lot of really good opportunities, and 2026 I have even more plans that I guess I can talk about. I mean, let's see if I can wipe this off or whatever. So yeah, 2025 I took action on a lot of good opportunities. I think 2026 I'm going to be able to expand on that. I want to get in like the agency game or whatever. So let's say, for example, I was able to create these funded accounts for myself. I was able to build these e-commerce systems for myself. I was able to do all this medical training. I kind of want to start making a lot more content around like all the business stuff that I've learned and all the medical content that I've learned. And I really want to teach it to people because I genuinely believe that all the things that I've learned, if I could find the right audience, I could obviously make a lot of money selling like high and low ticket offers to these people, right? So say I might create a low ticket course, right? Say like a $30 a month community on like WAP or like Discord. Basically me explaining how to build your own e-commerce system, right? I know everyone talks about course seller. I'm like, bro, you got to spend money to make money. Like, just shut up. Just shut up. That's why you're poor. You think every opportunity is a scam. Like, dude, be quiet. But yeah, so I need to make a lot more content. I need to get my face out there. I need to get my name out there. And just as a young man, I think it's good to want to be known and be respected and just have connections and have people know you. I think that's good to do. Because, yeah, this entire year, I'm going to be honest, bro, I've been in the trenches for real. So 2026 is going to be a lot of good opportunities. One of the main things I want to do is I want to turn Chase Parker Enterprises into a legitimate kind of agency where I'm basically selling these like done-for-you e-commerce systems where I'm helping people get set up with funded trading accounts so they can make money passively, and even perhaps even like a social media marketing agency where I help people or manage people's social medias for them for like say a fee every month or whatever. So there's a lot of projects that I'm currently working on. There's going to be a lot of hard work. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities present. Especially there's going to be a lot of opportunities present for every man that's prepared to buckle down and take their opportunities seriously. And yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on with me. Yeah, it's Christmas Day. What else is going on in the world, perhaps, that I could talk about? It's like Christmas Day. It's like 65 degrees outside. Like, it's actually very warm. The weather's very nice, so might go on a walk, might hit the gym, right? But that's pretty much it, my friends. Hope each and every single one of you have a very wonderful day and have a very good Christmas. And make sure that you take this next week seriously, right? And you take action, because most people probably won't. So it's basically like a guaranteed way to get ahead of everyone else. So, all right, friends, goodbye.